Things are no different in Connecticut 1 year later, and there are families still fighting to be made whole.
Yeah, tonight we continue our coverage of this anniversary. News 8's chief investigator David Iverson here now. Look at where the recovery stands now for those who were the most affected. David?
Right, Darren, there are still millions in damages, and families are saying they're not getting what they say is fair from insurance companies. Tonight we take a look at where personal insurance ends and taxpayer dollars begin. Even into the brisk days of fall, the beaches of East Haven can still draw a crowd. It was just 1 year ago that Hurricane Sandy hit land and left in its wake more than $500 million in damage for Connecticut residents.
Enough is enough. It's affecting them now. It's affecting me. We just want to get back in our house.
As we've shown you, homeowners from across New Haven and Fairfield County are still waiting to be made whole. Even those with homeowners and flood insurance are left paying for damage from the storm out of pocket.
The flood insurance contract is not meant to put you back to where you were before. There are limitations to the policy.
Connecticut's insurance department tracks the insurance claims from the storm. So far, there have been more than 60,000 claims, more than $500 million paid out from insurance companies. And the federal government is doling out hundreds of millions more to Connecticut. But for some, it's still not enough.
We need a much more quick response from our governments, from local all the way up to the federal governments.
State Representative James Albus helps form a group called the Shoreline Task Force. They've been working to streamline the process of getting anyone affected by the storm back on their feet.
A lot of homeowners, business owners, are having trouble figuring out what the best solution is for their particular piece of property.
And that's the gap that FEMA fills. While federal tax dollars are being spent to help people, there's a long-term solution in the works. It's called the Biggert Waters Flood Insurance Reform Act. It passed just months before Hurricane Sandy made landfall. Before it came along, flood insurance was cheap. So cheap that when events like Sandy come along, people who have been paying into it weren't paying enough. That's what it's going to change. Rates will be in line with true flood risk.
These new changes could really raise people's insurance premiums, and I don't think a lot of folks are ready for that.
Albus's concern is that the changes made will raise the cost of living on Connecticut coastline even further. Changes made are little comfort for people still working and in some cases fighting their insurance company. The state takes complaints about insurance companies. In just a year, they've looked into dozens of them. Often it comes down to homeowners versus flood insurance. The state can't help there. If insurance companies are offering too little, then it falls on the federal government to pick up the tab.
Unfortunately, in the past 3 years, with all the catastrophes we've had, we've gotten very good at working with FEMA.
Representative Albus says there really is not a good answer if you're waiting for payments. The federal government set aside $16 billion after Sandy, so the advice we're getting is what a lot of homeowners have heard. If you need help, contact FEMA. They just set up 4 offices across the state last week. David Iverson reporting for the News 8 investigators.